Welcome to the Story Learning Podcast, regular doses of language learning tips and motivation to help you become fluent in any language. With me, Olly Richards. For language programs, books, free resources, and much more, visit StoryLearning.com. Hello. Welcome to the I Will Teach You a Language podcast. This is Olly, and I want to say, first and foremost, welcome to everybody who is listening to this podcast new, who maybe this is your first or second episode. We've had many thousands of people, of new listeners on the show in the last couple of weeks, and I'm really happy to have you here. Now, this podcast is for you if you are trying to learn a foreign language. Doesn't matter if it's French, if it's Spanish, if it's Japanese, Mongolian, English. This podcast is for everybody, and the idea is simple. Now, there are lots of podcasts out there, really great podcasts out there for language learning, but what I do on this show is I answer your questions. All right, so whatever language question you have, you can simply get in touch with me, leave your question, and I will answer it for you. Now, this has a couple of advantages. First of all, it means that you can get your questions answered. But secondly, it also means that you can learn from other people who have got different questions to you. And a lot of people find that by listening to other people's problems and difficulties and questions and challenges, that helps them to have a better idea of how they are learning and how to learn faster. So that's the idea of the show. The episodes are quite short. I try to keep them, I don't prepare too much, I just kind of press record and I give you my honest answer. So that's what we've got here. I hope you enjoy it. Now, if you are new to the show, there's a bunch of places where you can find out more about me. My main blog is at iwillteachyoualanguage.com. So if you're at your computer right now, or even if you've got your phone with you, you can open up a web browser, type in iwillteachyoualanguage.com, head over there and check out the blog, because every week I publish brand new articles about language learning. We've got some really cool things. In fact, at the end of this week, we've got a super cool article. It's one that I'm very excited about. In fact, I haven't been this excited about publishing an article for a long time, so definitely go and check out the blog. If you're listening to the podcast, then please make sure you subscribe. Head over to, with whatever app you're using, click the subscribe button, which means you're going to get a notification of every new episode when it arrives. You can also, if you like the Periscope app, I also do regular Periscope sessions, scopes I believe they're called, where you get to see me on video and I give you a quick language tip. So if that's your thing, then head over to Periscope and search for me, Olly Richards, and you will get, again, like a notification every time there is a new episode. So, enough of that. Now, without any further ado, let's jump into today's question.
Hi, Olly. I really like your podcast. It's really helpful. Now, my mother wants to learn English, and I want to help her. So, what do you think should I start with? I don't know, any textbook or any app, or I don't know, just teach her phrases randomly. And also, if it would be a good idea to speak with her in English, even though my English is not perfect. But if it helps her to practice every day speaking with me, even though I'm not a native. Thank you so much, and keep on doing your awesome podcast. Bye.
Okay, Nicholas, thank you so much for a fantastic question. And, this reminds me a little bit of episode 35. And in episode 35, Nina asked how she can coach her mum to speak Italian. So it's kind of a twist on this. This time we're talking about English, and the principles are very similar. But, so definitely go back and check out episode 35 if you haven't already. And look, I think it's wonderful that you want to teach your mum English, and there's a lot that you can do. I mean, your English is fantastic, Nicholas, but you don't have to have perfect English to be able to help someone, and there's absolutely lots that you can do to help her. So, my first question really is, has she learned languages before, or is she coming to this as a new project? Because I think for a lot of people, if we've gone for, say, 10, 20, 30 years without learning any other languages, then it's a very new thing, right? It's a very different skill to what we're used to. And so we've got to remember that, and we can't go in to try to teach someone their first foreign language and have really high expectations, go really insane with all the study plans and things like that, because there are other more important things you've got to think about. All right. Now, for me, Nicholas, when you're thinking about this, there's two things that you have to bear in mind. All right. The first thing is you want her to learn, obviously. Okay. But the second thing is you want her to actually keep it up, because, learning a language, just like English, yeah, you have to study, of course, but also, you see, the most important thing is that you keep it up over time, because, most people fail to learn a language because they simply give up, or they don't give it long enough. Time is an extremely important thing. And so I think that you've got to approach this with two main questions. The first question is, well, how can I help her to study the language effectively? And second is, how can I help her to have fun with the language? And these are both really, really important things. So in terms of study, look, you have to study, all right? I mean, unless you're in a fortunate situation whereby you're surrounded by the language every single day, you've got to study. And if you don't, then progress becomes too slow. So you have to study. But I think it's important that you study in a way that suits you. And so for your mum, maybe she remembers how they were taught languages at school when she was a child, or maybe she's had a more recent experience. But the first thing I would do is whenever you've got some free time, go down to a bookshop, find a nice big bookshop with lots of language books, and just go through all of the English books there and help her find a book that she likes. And it should be, any textbook is fine. It should be at her level. So if she's a complete beginner, it should be a beginner's textbook. It's very important that it's not too hard. So it should be a book that, when she looks at it, she thinks, yeah, this is okay. I can use this. This is not too hard. And I think you can definitely use your mother tongue with this as well. So I'm not sure where you're from, but let's say, for example, if you are from Italy, then I would probably choose a book written in Italian. So it teaches you English in Italian. And I think that's important because it lowers the barrier to entry. It doesn't make the study process too difficult. All right, so I'd choose a book in your mother tongue, which teaches English, and it should be, and this is really important, it should be something that she likes. Okay, it should be a book that she picks up and she thinks, yeah, I can study with this book, I can use this book, this is perfect for me. That's really important. And then I would, once you've found that perfect textbook, I would set a very simple goal of something like, I'm going to study 1 page a day, or 2 pages a day, or 1 chapter of the textbook a week. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter, but it should be something that you can measure and something that you can stick to on a regular basis. So I think, personally for me, something like studying 2 pages a day sounds like a good goal for me. It's like, it's not too much, but it's something good. And that if you do that, if you do study every day, then you are going to learn English well. It's gonna happen. Like, here I'm deliberately avoiding questions like, well, what's the best textbook? Like, what's the most effective way to learn? Like, that doesn't matter for me so much in this case. I think you just got to pick a textbook that she likes, that she wants to study with, and simply start to work through it. Okay, this is the hard work element of learning English, if you like. So that's the study thing. Now, the second thing is you have to make it fun, because if it's not fun for your mum to learn English, then she's not going to keep up. She's not going to continue, and sooner or later, she'll either get bored with it or just won't want to continue. So you've got to do little things to make it fun, and there are no golden rules for this. But I think speaking is a fantastic thing to do, and it can be very little things. So, she's going to be studying her textbook every day. And so I'd be thinking about, what can you do to encourage her to say a few words here and there? So if you're having dinner, you can ask her, what's this in English? Or how do you say the things on the table in English, or what the food that we're eating? Like simple words, simple things, like just start to encourage her to say the odd word here and there, and make it fun. So if you're walking down the street and you pass a clothes shop or something, you say, well, how do you say clothes shop in English? Or where are we going? Get her to just start to say simple words in English. And that's going to do something very important, which is that it's going to start to make English part of her life. Okay? And that's something that you can do and that you can help her with very, very actively. Okay? Again, Don't worry about her making mistakes or bad pronunciation or anything. That doesn't matter. Just get her to have a little bit of fun with the language and start to just say a few words here and there. And so those are the two elements. You could also do things like, instead of watching TV in your mother tongue, start watching TV in English. Make a point of watching one movie every week in English, for example. If she likes cooking, you could buy her an English cookery book. Little things like that to keep it fun and to keep it relevant for her. All right. And so really over the long term, the key here is keep her motivated. She needs to be motivated. It's the most important thing. Without motivation, you're never going to learn. It's not going to happen. So for me, like, even the question of, well, how to study, how to teach, that doesn't matter for me if you're not motivated. So think of ways to keep it fun and keep her motivated. Maybe you could come and plan a trip to the UK. Maybe you could find some English games to play in the evening or something like that. Keep it fun, keep her motivated, but also make sure that she does do a little bit of study every day. And those two things combined will help her learn English really, really quickly. Okay. The other thing is, remember to give it time, all right? People don't learn languages normally in only a few months or even in a year. It does take time. And so that's really why it's so important to stay motivated and just do that little bit of studying every day. All right, so I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your question. I really, really like it. And if you would like to ask me a question, then you can. I love to get your questions. You can head over to iwillteachyoualanguage.com/ask, A-S-K, and then you can press this little button that leaves a voice message for me, which I can then answer on the show. If you enjoy the podcast, I'd also really appreciate a review of the show. It really helps other people to find it. And if you'd like to do that, then you can go to iwillteachyoualanguage.com/review, and that will take you over to iTunes, where you can leave an honest star rating and review. So now, at the end of every episode, I like to leave you with a list of resources of some kind on the topic of the show. But because I know we've got lots of people who are listening to the show new, then I want to let you know about a free guide that I've written. And it's all about my favorite apps and websites for learning a language. And I've chosen my 10 favorite technology tools for learning a foreign language, and they're really, really cool. They are websites and apps that I use every single day to help me learn. And if you'd like to get a free copy of that, then simply go to iwillteachyoualanguage.com/sign up. That's SIGNUP. Okay, iwillteachyoualanguage.com/sign up, and you can get a free copy of that guide. Tens of thousands of people have downloaded that now, and they really, really love it, and I hope it helps you as well. If you'd like to get any of the information from the episode today, you can go to the show notes, which will be at iwillteachyoualanguage.com/episode 84. And thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of the podcast.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. And here at Story Learning, everything that I do is powered by stories, whether that's writing books, teaching lessons, crafting courses. My mission is to help everyone succeed at learning a new language through the power of story. And we now have comprehensive language courses in over 15 languages, from Spanish to French, Korean to Japanese, and across all levels from beginner to mastery. And you can take a 7-day free trial of any of these programs by visiting storylearning.com/courses. I've poured my heart and soul into creating these courses over the last 10 or so years, and we've helped tens of thousands of new students achieve their dreams of learning a new language, all through the power of story. So go ahead and take a free trial. There's no commitment. You can try out our method for free. See if this can also be the breakthrough for you that it's been for so many other people. storylearning.com/courses.